Hey guys, today we're back with a 2024 BMW X5M. We filmed one of these not too long ago out in Spartanburg, South Carolina at BMW Test Fest. This week, I've lived with this X5M. Let's talk about what's been like to daily drive and experience on a regular basis for the last 3 days. So, we have 617 horsepower, 553 pound-feet of torque. The X5M starts at $123,000. As tested, this is $141 grand. So not cheap, but very, very potent, and oh, this spec is pretty stunning. The interior is gorgeous. The exterior, I think, actually looks pretty good. It's one of the better looking vehicles in the BMW lineup. This is painted in urban green, which is a $5,000 option. A little bit darker in the light that we have tonight, but in broad daylight and direct sun, it's stunning. And actually, it looks pretty good right now too in golden hour. Very, very impressive performance SUV. We have a staggered wheel and tire setup, 22s in the back, 21s in the front, 315/30 R22s in the rear, and I believe 295/35 R21s in the front. Really meaty Michelin performance tires. I assume these are Pilot Sport 4S's. Yes, they are. All right. Massive brakes, massive cooling ducts. This is the M5 SUV. Very potent on track, but haven't tracked one of these in quite a while. I actually tracked the previous generation X5M at Circuit of the Americas, and it blew my socks off, and I assume this new one is just even more potent. This has a 4.4 liter twin turbo V8. Again, 617 horsepower, 553 pound-feet of torque. Made it to an 8-speed ZF automatic transmission. It's all-wheel drive. It's rated for 13 miles to the gallon in the city, 18 on the highway. Hot V setup with the turbos. It is just a powerhouse. Sounds a little bit funky with the piped-in engine noise, but oh boy, I've actually really enjoyed living with this on a daily basis this week. It's not a necessarily comfortable and uber luxurious SUV. You can feel the M-car roots here every time you get into it. You start it up, it's a hardcore machine, but I kind of like it for that. It makes no excuses for what it is. This interior is just gorgeous. The finishing, the carbon fiber, the stitching, the leather quality. It feels special, and it is special. The X5 is known to be a class leader in pretty much all of its iterations, and this X5M kind of carries that on. Let's take a look. We'll pop this split tailgate and see what storage space looks like. Plenty of room in the back of this. This is only a 5-seater. If you want to get a 3-row SUV, you got to get the X7 M60i or the XB7 from Alpina. Look at this gas strut, compact spare tire, toolkit, like they offer that. Very high quality inside and out. I like the little protector here. You can use this as a step, a bench, a table. Yeah. And then one button press to fold it all up. Love some of the changes they've made for the 2024 model year. A few tweaks to the front end, a few tweaks to the styling. I can't remember if this is running iDrive 8.5 or if it's still on the older system. I believe this is the older system. They're going to be doing some updates to this to make it a little bit more intuitive to perform basic functions. And that really brings me to my only major complaint about this X5M, is that the tech in here is tedious. You do get used to it with time, but this is supposed to be a luxury performance SUV. It does the performance very well, but I would argue that it struggles a little bit with the luxury. Luxury is comfort. It's not convenient to be comfortable in this. Let's say I'm in CarPlay. I've got Waze running. This is kind of where I live when I drive a car on a daily basis. If I want to change the temperature, okay, that's easy enough. 1 degree changes, no problem. There isn't a physical button for the heated steering wheel, the ventilated seats, the heated seats. There's a massage button, but I don't care about getting a back massage when I first get into this car. I want my heated seats on. So I have to go into the climate menu. Here's one press. Turn it on, turn it off, change the setting. Okay, 1, 2, maybe 3 presses if I want to turn on my seats. 4 to go back to where I was. That should be a physical control. That should be a button. So it's just little things like this that are annoying to live with in this modern iDrive 8 system. Okay, you could use voice activation to do it, but who has time for that? It takes too long. I want it done right now. I want a button for it. So I will grant BMW this. If you put your heated steering wheel on low, if you put your heated seats on low, or whatever you set them to previously, when you restart the vehicle, they will resume at that level, which is nice. You can also kind of go in and do automatic programming. But ultimately, I want to know exactly what's happening. I want indications on the dashboard with a button. It does occasionally pop up here if you're below a certain temperature. Okay, heated steering wheel's on, heated seats are on. That's nice to see. But again, it's one of my few complaints about this car. I think all manufacturers need to start bringing back physical controls. We've gone a little bit too far, and we need to bring it back and dial it back a little bit. The rest of this car does actually give you a lot of physical controls for some other features. We have a hill descent control button here. Okay, that's a physical button for some reason. We've got M mode for our different gauge clusters, so we can change those up. Road, sport, track. Track is kind of cool because it turns that off basically. We've got M1 and M2 buttons. M1 will put us in M dynamic mode for traction and stability control. 4-wheel drive sport. We've got our engine in Sport Plus, our suspension in Sport, steering and comfort, and brake feel in Sport. M2 dials everything up to max, Sport Plus and Sport, all across the board. So we're going to drive around a little bit in comfort, which is actually kind of the perfect drive mode for everyday use, in my opinion. Everything in full comfort feels really good in this X5M. Sometimes when you have all these different settings, all these different calibration modes, it's hard to find one that works and that you're happy with. Everything in comfort is actually really nice in this, and if you want to dial it up, make it more extreme, you can. Love this shifter. Super easy to put in reverse, just over to the left and forward. We have nice cameras, high res. You can engage the camera systems very easily if you're pulling up to a parking space. All you have to do is just press the parking sensor button, and there you go. You can park in and out of spaces. Of course, this has a 48-volt mild hybrid system, so stop-start is seamless. And you start this up, you don't even hear a starter noise, which is great. Ambient lighting in the interior, very well done, as we've seen from BMW in many recent years. You can also just quickly access that menu, say ambient lighting.
Interior lighting.
And it'll take us there. So we can change this to just about any color we want. Indigo, lavender. Lavender is kind of cool. I feel like that suits the interior of this X5M very well. And then that is also reflected here in the panoramic dual sunroof. All right, off we go. You do get used to using this infotainment with time, but it is tedious, and it shouldn't be. It should be intuitive, it should be easy, much like iDrive 7 was. Let's talk about driving, because that's what this is all about. BMW still prints the ultimate driving machine on every one of their Monronis, one of their spec sheets. And I'm starting to believe it again. This is a fantastic performance vehicle. It's crazy fast for an SUV. These tires take a little bit to warm up. It is a bit chilly out today, 50 degrees Fahrenheit. But the gearbox tuning, the engine tuning, it's all about right, about how it should be and how it should feel in an M car. There's a little bit more NVH over bumps because of these high performance tires and the stiffer suspension, but it's not punishing. It doesn't beat you up. It's what we've kind of come to expect from an M car. If anything, I think it's a little bit more comfortable than the X3M that we had. It's a good balance. you're probably not going to see the same off-road capability here that you would in some other X5 models. That's okay. It sounds mean. It sounds really good. A few burbles when you let off the throttle. You can lock it into manual mode here. You have 3 settings for shift aggressiveness. You can use the shifter to upshift and downshift, and it is the proper direction. Back to upshift, forward to downshift. Super sharp front end. Getting a little bit of scrub from those tires before they heat up tonight. But this just turns in on a dime. For a minute, I forgot that I was in a big, heavy SUV. Driving position feels great. Lots of bolstering from these seats. This just hunkers down and grips. It's adjustable with the throttle. It's just awesome. It's so talented for its size and weight. That was everything in Sport Plus. Yeah, it's good. Let's calm things down a little bit, put us back into comfort and efficient mode. And the X5M is still fun to drive. I think BMW is finally starting to build aspirational vehicles again. Vehicles that you could aspire to own. Vehicles that are highly desirable. Vehicles that have a little bit of sex appeal and some character. Okay, I'm not convinced on maybe some of the tech and the infotainment in here, but it's livable. It's not a deal breaker. I'm not necessarily convinced on the engine sound. I feel like it just is too synthetic and it sounds a bit off, especially when you compare it to the BMW XM, for example, which sounds like a V8. This is a V8. It doesn't really sound like one. It sounds like something different. It's just weird. But I'm willing to forgive that because the rest of this X5M is damn near perfect for what it is and its intended purpose, its intended buyer. Its capability and performance is absolutely hilarious, but it's also just a very, very good vehicle to live with on a daily basis. It's fun. It makes every journey just a little bit more exciting and engaging. Let's play around in manual mode just a little bit. Gearbox is getting a little bit more responsive as more temperature gets into the system. It's still a little bit lazy on downshifts, but it just bangs through the upshifts. It's so satisfying. Little creaks over bumps. You feel the stiffness in this chassis. But we've got a pretty bumpy section of road here, and in comfort mode, I'm not getting beaten up. Even in sport mode and Sport Plus, it's not punishing. You still have suspension travel. You have good ground clearance. You could throw a set of winter tires or all seasons on here, and just dominate in the snow. You're constantly throwing up rocks and pebbles and debris up into the fenders because of how sticky these tires are. You really feel the width and the aggressive stance of this X5M. And we felt it briefly turning into that entrance ramp, but the front end here is just, it's so sharp. I mean, that's amazing. I think BMW is back on their game. Okay, their cars aren't the most engaging, but they're really nice to live with. And they have this balance. They've achieved this balance now with their vehicles that is just very satisfying. They've injected just a little bit more driver feedback in their vehicles. This is great. This is a great package. I'm very impressed with what they've done here. We forgot to do a launch control. Let's do a quick launch. Yeah, that's brutal. That is brutal. I'm used to doing launch controls in fast cars. That made my brain go a little funky from the 0 to 40 miles an hour. Whew. Yeah, that's fast. Headlight performance is great. Let's do that launch just one more time. I was ready for it then, but it wasn't any less brutal. Wow. So, it has some party pieces. You can take this out on the track. It'll be fine. You'll probably pass everyone if you're a halfway decent driver. You can ride up on all the curbs. It's got ground clearance. And you can daily drive it. It'll be comfortable, luxurious. It has new tech. It has the screens. It has the ambient lighting. It has pretty much everything you'd want. Only downside? It's kind of expensive. And it's probably going to depreciate a good amount too. If you can afford it. If you have the means, it is kind of the ultimate performance SUV. We're just going to leave things in comfort here. If it were warmer out, we had a little bit more temperature in these tires, this would be hitting speeds around entrance ramps that we only do in very, very high-end sports cars. It is very impressive. If you want automatic driving, adaptive cruise control, all that stuff, get another X5. This isn't the X5 for that. It has basic cruise control, at least this one does, and it works fine. Easy to adjust, easy to change. The brakes are just brutal. It's all very, very impressive. Let's end with a sound system test here really quickly. We've tested this Bowers and Wilkins before. It's pretty good. It's not incredible. It's not amazing, but it's pretty good. It is an optional extra. quick taste. Yeah, this thing is it's a battle wagon. It does it all. It is such a monster. I love it. Let's talk about the 48 volt mild hybrid for just a little bit. I touched on this in my last review, but it is nice in that it adds just a little bit of torque fill everywhere. So it increases the responsiveness of the powertrain. We already have very minimal turbo lag with this twin turbo 4.4 liter V8, but this kind of gives you just a little bit more responsiveness of the drivetrain when you dip into the throttle at low speeds, at high speeds. It's a very well integrated mild hybrid system. It works seamlessly with auto stop start. When you start it up, cold start in the morning, it just comes to life. There's no starter noise, there's no delay. It's very satisfying. It's very good. It enhances the driving experience. Okay, I think that's going to be a wrap, guys. Thank you so much for watching. We'll see you in the next video. Hopefully you enjoyed this POV night drive of the X5M. I sure have enjoyed spending time in it this week. Go check out some more videos on this at TheTopher Drives channel. Chris is going to film this week, probably for his channel, and also on Winding Road Magazine's YouTube channel. I would have loved to get this out on track, but our temperatures just aren't warm enough this week to be comfortable taking these tires out. So maybe sometime in the future we'll get a chance to take this car out on the racetrack. And if not, you can always go back and watch the old Winding Road video of the previous generation X5M back, I think it was 2015 or 2016, around COTA, and just crank it up a couple notches and imagine what this could be like. So yeah, some pretty impressive stuff for sure. We'll end this video with just a little bit of low speed city driving and give you guys a taste of what it's like just kind of putzing around town here.
Mm-hmm.